Alright, this is going to be Tableau 3, and what I'm going to do, because I don't have a good data set substitute, is I'm going to actually do the assignment. Right, I'm going to do the part that I tell you to do. So I'm going to get Postgres as a data source. This is in Tableau. Localhost, need to make sure everything is correct. Password. So I'm going to sign in. Gives me that. So I want two tables here. Oh, I don't want community assist. Never mind. Let's go back. Let's do Postgres. And let's do the community assist. I want to do tech certification. Now I need to real quickly check on the PG admin just to make sure my tech certificates, it's all lowercase. Alright. So I'm going to go back to Tableau. And we'll do it this way. Tech certificates. Everything else is the same. Alright, so I'm going to sign in. Okay, so here I have all of the certificate things. We want person and student. Okay, so I'm going to update this, and it gives me all the information about those persons that are also students. The first map I'm going to make from this, I am going to drag the city onto columns. Actually, let's make the city here. So the city I want in columns, and then the student key. Doesn't matter if it's person key or student key, but I'll do the student key. I don't want it to be a sum. I want it to be just no measure. I guess we could leave it as a sum. It should, well, shouldn't matter. And then what I want to do is I want to use the map. So one of the things it does, notice the change from latitude to longitude. It also gives me relative. There's a couple in Hawaii. There's one in Alaska up there. So I just, oh, I don't want it that small. Alright, so there's one in Alaska, there's Hawaii, there's quite a few in the Chicago area. You know, the bigger the thing, the more people are there. Now you might notice that there are 89 unknown. And if you click on that, and if you want to edit the locations, you can. It'll pop up a list where it says it's ambiguous. Now to correct this, we need basically latitudes and longitudes. And I might go look for one. Let's look for latitude and longitude for latitude. So this has a latitude longitude finder. Let's see. Just see if I can find one. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because it's not really that important. It's taken a long time to get there. Okay. Let's try a different one. Alright, so let's do Anchorage. So if we find that, So I have the latitude and longitude. Control C. Let's go back to here. Control V. Probably a space. And Control C. Oh, I didn't have it. I'd have to get both of them together. So I'll do Notepad. I'm only going to do it once just to show you that it can be done. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to get this, Control C, and I'll put it on Notepad. And I will get this, and I will also put it on Notepad. And then I will copy the whole thing. Go back here. And let's see what happens if we do that. Control V. Okay. Did it do it? I don't see Anchorage on there. So I'm not sure it did it. But theoretically, you should be able to change those. So if I do this again, there we go. So I'm going to do, paste that in. I'll get the other one. You can see what a pain this would be for 89 of them. There's an Anchorage, it added an Anchorage. Alright, so you could do that for each of the 80, now there's 88 unknown. You could do that for each of them if you wanted to, depending on how important it is. But most everything is in the United States here. Okay, so that's one. I would zoom this so that we have I'm trying to bring it into focus here. There's got to be a way to bring this down. So you can see this is, I'm not an expert at this. There's got to be a way to move this. That's a little better. Doesn't have Alaska in it and quite as enough. Right there, I like that one. That's good enough. Okay, I don't know if color, that would just change the colors of the dots, I think. Alright, so that's one. I'm going to make a second sheet. So we got sheet one, let's do, that's sheet two. So sheet one we never made. Let's bring in the state, just the state. And then we will do a count of the students that are in each state. And I don't want to sum, I just want to count. So we go to measure and we go to count. Okay. So that gives us a count of how many people are in each state. Okay. Alright, so we have a couple of different graphs here. We have a geographical one, which is kind of neat. But again, you have 88 unknowns to deal with. If you wanted to go through and provide more longitudes and latitudes, you could. And then we have one that shows the count of students per state. So there aren't 50 there, so there are some states left out, right? We could do other things with this, of course, like we could put, let's say, the count of students. Let's do a label for that. So, don't want to drag that off. Let's do student key label. It gives me the student key, so that's not what I really want. Let's do the count. There it goes. That's the count of student keys for each of those states. And that actually is kind of useful. Okay. Anything else we want to do? Alright, so I am going to go to the next thing here, which is I am going to create a dashboard. And I'm going to drop a couple of sheets here. So I'm going to put the graph there. I'm going to, can I make it smaller by the corners? I kind of want to make it a little smaller. Okay, it's not as good as I would like. I'm going to put sheet 1 over here, which has the thing. So we've got a dashboard here. We've got the student key, although I think I might want that to be a little differently with a count. I don't know that we need that. So we've got those two things in our dashboard. And that gives us kind of a story. You know, these are the states. This is a picture of that state. So when we look at Illinois, there are 7 there, which is why it's a little bit bigger thing. And it gives us, I'm not sure which student key it's giving us when they've got that. Alright, so we've still got 88 unknown. This is a dashboard. You can also do things like change the name. So I'm going to change the name to location students. And I'll do OK. And then this sheet I will give a name of count per state. The last component, so this is a dashboard, there's a new worksheet, a new dashboard, and in the end there's a new story. And a story is basically where you're trying to tell us something about where your students are. So where are our students? And then you can look and you can see this, and you can make a story out of it. So there is a presentation level to this. I'm going to just real quickly, we'll do, I'm looking for the presentation. So in the presentation mode, there you see this. And it's basically for allowing you to discuss what story does the data tell about our students. So I'm going to escape to get out of that. I'm also the layout. I'm looking for other aspects. It's not where I want to go. let's go to our thing again. Okay. Where is it? What I just lost? Here it is. Let's expand this again. So anyway, that's a story, but there's other aspects of the story that I wanted to show. And one of the things I want to do is bring back the dashboard format, copy image, show title. I know I can do it because I've done it before. You can tell I'm not great at this. There are ways to make this display differently, where you can check on the display on, let's go back to the dashboard. Let's go back to the dashboard. I think, again, I can't see this. There are ways to make it show how it will display on a phone, on a, so I'm looking for where that is. Dashboard, story, parameters, workbook, theme. You could change the theme. What does that do? Modern. Don't know if that does a whole lot, but new worksheet, duplicate, clean sheet, pause, new data source, save, data. Show title, show grid, so here's device layouts. You could do tablet. It shows what it looks like on a tablet. I believe it did have, you could do what it looks like on a phone. Device layouts, there's add phone, add desktop. So this is the desktop. I want to bring back that toolbar. And I don't know where that toolbar is. Show grid. That's not really what I wanted. It has auto-generate phone layouts. Alright, I'm not going to worry about it. Let's share the workbook with others. So, I'm going to let this be. You guys can probably do better at it than me. So there are a couple of ideas here. One is you connect to the data source. You can do your various sheets. Right, there's the counts per state. It's interesting that it's bigger now. There's the geographical one that shows the where all the students are. A dashboard that puts them together. And a story, which is really the same thing as the dashboard, although I could have put it in differently. And I think you can do some animation on the story. So I would suggest looking up more about the stories, looking up more about the dashboard, but if you can just kind of go through these, I'll be happy enough. Alright, I'm going to kill the video. It's not very good, but it is what it is. So I am going to stop recording.